Join me as I dive into the world of cybersecurity and discover the highest paying job. Hi, my name is Nelia and welcome to my channel. I have been in cybersecurity for over 12 years now, and I had no idea the salary range or the different opportunities that cybersecurity had to offer. So today I'm going to dig into it and show you and highlight some of the careers that either I have held or I'm very familiar with. Cybersecurity is the practice of protecting networks, systems, and data from potential cyber threats. And it's everywhere. It's in our personal life, in our personal devices. It's in bigger corporations like healthcare, our bank, our money. All of those things need to be safe from cyber threats. And that's where cybersecurity comes in. And in today's globally technical world, cybersecurity is one of the fastest growing fields.
So let's start with a fun fact of why cybersecurity is such a lucrative field. There is 3.5 million on-field jobs in cybersecurity, and I will show you the different levels, the different entry, medium, or senior levels, and I'm going to show you the medium and how many vacancies they are. So make sure you stay later on for that. There is a high demand for cybersecurity skill professionals because of the rise in cyber threats. Salaries are driven by demand, and right now the demand is very high, with entry-level positions starting anywhere from 60 to 70 all the way up to $100,000. There are certain fields that pay more because of the sensitivity, like healthcare and finance. I worked in both of those industries. I worked for Stanford Hospital for some time, and I also worked at another company that dealt with money. And I could tell you that the work is a little bit more stressful than my current industry in academia. So depending on where you work, obviously the amount is going to change. So let's jump into my computer so that I can show you the different salaries, the responsibility, and what it takes to do these roles. And then after that, I'm going to show you the website that I found and what details of the medium and how many job openings are worldwide. So let's get into that. So let's get into the first one. The first one that I have here for you is an IT auditor, and this is the salary ranges from entry level to senior level. So you can see entry level 60 to 75, mid 75 to 100, and senior 100 to 130. And these are the key responsibilities that you can see here. So you evaluate the IT system. So you have to make sure that it's efficient, that it meets the security, and that it has compliance, and that it has processes in place, right? One of the things that I used to do as a TPRM, third-party risk manager, is I would identify risk and recommend mitigation strategy. I had to understand what the application was, how the application worked within the system. I needed to understand and make sure that I met different compliance like GDPR, HIPAA, SOC 2. So I was in charge of doing the SOC 2 audits and the PCI audits for the company that I used to work for. You also have to do test controls, audit internal controls to protect against threats and breaches. So that simply means that you have to make sure that you have, for example, a firewall in place to protect against certain threats. If it's in the cloud, you have to make sure that there is a cloud firewall, or if it's on premises, then you have to make sure that there's firewalls involved just to protect so that you don't get a denial of service or any other type of thing. It's like that. And then you have to report the findings. So create actionable audit reports, and then after I did my audits, I make sure that I had these kind of like set up for next year, because we used to do audit reports every year. I did a lot of collaborations with a lot of teams to address the different vulnerabilities and emerging changes. So that these are the kind of responsibilities that you got to do as an IT auditor. What does it take? Bachelor's in IT, cybersecurity, accounting, or a related field. You need to be an analytical thinker. You need to have audit frameworks like NIST, ISO. So I use NIST in the government, ISO 2700. I also used it in and outside of the government. Regulatory knowledge like SOC 2, GDPR, these are different PCI, like I said. The certifications that you would need for this type of jobs are CISA, gold standard, CISSP, or the CIA. And the experience level, 1 to 2 years, advanced, 5+ years in governance and auditing. So I was a third-party risk manager. And essentially, this is what I did at a higher level. So that was a difference there with the title. Now we're going to talk about a security analyst salary. Entry level, $65,000 to $85,000 a year. Mid level, $85,000 to $110,000, and then senior level, $110,000 to $130,000+ a year. And with every single of these, depending on where you live, is going to fluctuate, right? There's going to be obviously a medium, and I'm going to show you later a website that I found that you can see like entry level and senior and different things like that. So make sure you stick to the end. The responsibilities are the following. You monitor the system. Things like scanning would be monitoring the system, or you can use different tools like CrowdStrike that helps monitoring the system. So you have to analyze and monitoring to identify any type of suspicious activity or any kind of threat or potential threat. Potential threat would be somebody that you have logging in to your system. Let's say they're logging in from San Diego, and then boom, a minute later they're logging in from New York. Obviously, that should raise a red flag, and you should investigate. Threat response, investigate security incidents like the one I just mentioned, and respond to breaches to mitigate risk. System updates, patches are applied not by the security team, but the systems team. But as a security person, you have to make sure that those systems are updated. So when you run your scan or when you're looking at your system, making sure that they're in the latest OS, things like that. Risk assessment, conduct regular assessment to identify weakness in the organization, in the cybersecurity posture, and then policy enforcement, develop and enforce policies and procedures to ensure compliance. This is something that could be asked of this role later, I would say. The enforcement part, but the development part, I wouldn't say that would be something that you have to do as in the entry level. That would be more senior level. So what does it take? Again, bachelor's degree in information technology or related field, computer science. It's preferred, but it's not always required. So the certs, which is why all of these slides have certifications, because the certs are sometimes more important with your skills and your experience. The skills, certifications, and experience are more important than the education, especially when you're starting out, right? So the skills, strong analytical and problem solving, knowledge of firewalls, which I spoke about a little earlier, antivirus programs and intrusion detection system, your IDS systems, familiarity with SIEM, so security information event management, things like Splunk or K-Radar, even Datadog. There's different tools out there that can help you with security information and event management. Certifications, CompTIA Security Plus. Security Plus from CompTIA is one of the entry-level certifications for foundational knowledge, and that is the only certification that I hold. I have a master's degree in cybersecurity, which is why I don't have the CISSP, which is the next bullet, right? Certified Information System Security Professional. This is for mid-level or advanced professionals. My master's had a class on the CISSP, so I read the book cover to cover. Certified Ethical Hacker, that adds value for roles requiring some type of threat and prevention testing skills. It is good to have also because CISSP, I would say, is like on the blue team, and CEH, I would say, is more like on the red team. If you know the concept between red and blue, one is offensive, one is defensive. And the experience that you need to have for this type of role is hands-on experience. You can get them through internship, entry-level IT, or self-paced lab jobs like Try Hack Me or Hack the Box. And I want to emphasize here on the internships. Internships will give you so much experience and they will help you so much. And even if you have to do a free internship, but I know that there's also paid internships out there. So I would definitely Google this and make sure that I found the right internship. If I was starting fresh into this, I would definitely look into internship. So, cybersecurity engineer. Hey, so I'm a cybersecurity engineer. I'm an information security engineer, cybersecurity engineer. They kind of like go hand in hand. So entry level, 80,000 to 100,000, mid level, 100 to 130, and senior level, 130 to 160. That definitely goes higher depending on who you work for, what you do, what industry you're in. If you're working for healthcare, if you're working for finance, the stakes are a little higher in those industries. So I would say that the pay is also higher in those industries. These are the key responsibilities: design and implement security systems, protect networks, data, and infrastructure, identify and mitigate threats, address vulnerability proactively. So I get the vulnerabilities. I'm not going to bother my team if my vulnerability is extremely low and I have a critical or high one and it's more important, and I have a 0 day and somebody's coming in and destroying my availability, which has happened. So I'm going to focus on those rather than focusing on the low-hanging fruits. Not that I'm not going to address them and I'm not going to investigate them, but I'm going to take care of the priorities, right? As a cybersecurity engineer, it is your job to know what the priority is in your particular environment and what kind of levels of security do you have, or what defense in depth are you using, or that particular network is using. Incident report, investigate breaches and prevent reoccurrence. So if something happens, somebody lost their laptop, somebody lost their phone, you have to talk to the support team to let them know that they have to remote wipe and pretty much render the device useless. Those are kind of the things that you have to do there. An incident report for those levels, there's different levels. There's a whole incident response thing. That is a whole job in it, all in its own. Monitor network traffic, detect suspicious activities. So you want to make sure that the activity that's coming in is not suspicious, so you don't have 20 servers attacking you or traffic coming from places that is not expected. All of those things you need to monitor and make sure that it's not happening in your environment. Testing and maintenance, regular testing to ensure integrity. So again, regular scanning, making sure that there's maintenance windows, making sure that the maintenance windows are being used how they're supposed to be used, not to make changes for things that shouldn't be gone through the change management process. And I know I'm talking a lot and I'm trying to go really fast because it's a lot of information. The more I talk, the more I'm like, oh my God, it's so much. Collaboration is huge. Integrate security solutions into processes. That is huge for cyber security. The sooner that the developers think about security, the easier our job is. Simple as that. Okay, what does it take? bachelor's in cybersecurity. I have a master's in cybersecurity, but I also have 12 years in the industry, a computer science or related field. But if you're starting out, a bachelor's in cybersecurity will help you. It will help you understand the different jargons. Hopefully you understood everything that I was saying before. Anyway, skills, firewalls, encryption, programming like Python, Java, C++, network protocols, Linux, Windows. Caveat, you don't necessarily need to know programming to be in cybersecurity. Yes, I took a programming class in my bachelor's course, but I don't necessarily do programming all the time. I do need to understand encryption and firewall and network protocols 100%. But Python and Java and C++, I don't use programming that much. Me personally, again, different people, different jobs, different skills. The certifications, Security Plus, like I said, that's like your entry level to cyber. CISSP, CCSP for cloud roles, and again, CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker, vulnerability assessment. That is what that's for. And the experience, IT, network engineering, security analysts, and hands-on labs or internships. I have a background on being a firewall manager. I used to manage firewalls, so I didn't come from that. I came from physical security, and I will link somewhere how I got started. That was the first video I did last week, so I'll put that up so you guys can see that.
And go. So this is cyberseek.org, and here you can go to the roles. That's going to show you, for example, cybersecurity specialist, 6,372 roles open, and the average salary is 88,000. And then you have cybercrime analyst, and then you see that there's 1,823, and this is starting, and the average salary is 100K. The same thing with incident and intrusion analyst, 5,538. I feel like these are like kind of like your SOC analyst, entry level. Again, 6 figures. So IT auditor, that one has 6,000 and it starts at 85,000. And then you can see how they tie into each other. So if you start as a cybersecurity specialist, you can become a cybersecurity analyst, a cybersecurity consultant, or you can be a pen and vulnerability tester. And then if you're a cybersecurity analyst, you can come from all these 3 verticals at the entry level, and then you can go to all 3 of the advanced levels. So you see how they kind of like tie into each other. So I really like this website because it shows you about 24,000 job openings for cybersecurity analysts, and that's mid-level, right? There's 115,000, right? And again, there you can see the progression. You can be a cybersecurity manager, a cybersecurity engineer, or cybersecurity architect. I feel like the architect only has like 4,354. Let me know in the comments below if you have seen this before 2-ish years ago. I don't think I've seen it as predominantly or as seasoned as like the cybersecurity engineer or the cybersecurity manager type of roles that you have here. And then you can go to the skills and certifications, and in here you can see CompTIA Security Plus certification, the one I told you about. You see how it lines up with all of the job titles, and then from the job titles you can see the top skills, and you can see how it ties back to the top certifications, the CISSP, the CISA, and then a lot of other certifications that I didn't really go into, because if you really want to go into cybersecurity, you need to start with CompTIA Security Plus and then go from there. So this is a great website to see what kind of certifications and skills you need to have to hold those type of job titles. So hopefully this helped you.
As you saw with a different job, it affects how much you get paid, and depending on the education, the certifications, all of those things matter, and the industry. These are all important parts of the puzzle per se, of how much money they're going to be willing to pay. Are you entry level? Are you mid level? Do you have some experience? Do you have some experience from like the health industry, and you're also bringing cyber into it? Do you know law and now you're bringing cyber into law? That is kind of like what's going to, those are the factors that are going to affect the salary, as you saw in the previous slide deck that I showed you. There are some emerging trends for cyber. So when I was taking my master's a few years ago at Fordham University, one of the things that we learned about was IoT and how to break into hack and Alexa. So the IoT, the Internet of Things, is one of those fields in cybersecurity that is kind of newer. But even newer than that is obviously AI in cyber. And if you have a class or went to a class or know of a great resource for AI in cyber, please put it in the comments below. I would love to share this with my community, and myself will love to explore. One of the things that is very important in cyber is to continue learning and continue exploring different areas. AI is not here to replace us, especially cybersecurity. AI and cyber, I feel like we're friends. And the reason why I say this is because it's a tool, and AI has been used in many, many tools prior to the ChatGPTs coming out in the world. So that's another futuristic thing that will be coming. So I wouldn't be surprised if I find some AI in cyber courses or things like that. There's different aspects to come at it when it comes to AI, and I can talk, and I will talk a whole video on AI and cyber. I'm not going to divulge and just go right in. This is about salaries and future salaries and opportunities that could happen, and AI is definitely one of them. Quantum security, cryptology for quantum computing would be another field that I can see futuristic that can provide a very high salary bracket for those entering or for those that have already been in the field for a while. How to get into these paying jobs, high paying jobs. As you heard me talk through certifications, education certifications, they're important. Start with CompTIA Security Plus. I just learned of a new resource. It's not as known or as recognized as Security Plus. So if you're really serious about cyber, I would definitely go straight for CompTIA Security Plus to start with. ISC2 Squared, they have kind of like an intro cybersecurity course that they're doing for free. I'm gonna link that in the description below, or if you want me to send it to you, just comment and I'll write it in the comments. And that's a way to start, but if you're really serious about cyber, I would go straight to CompTIA. Try to get some hands-on experience, whether it's through the resources that I shared earlier, or networking, or you know somebody and you're like, hey, would you mind if I tag along, or just watched you, shoulder surfed while you did what you had to do, and network. Go on LinkedIn and network. And I feel like those are the things that can help you get started into this field. So to summarize, cybersecurity jobs are on the rise. They have been on the rise for quite some years. AI is here and cybersecurity is not going anywhere. So there is a lot of room for anyone to come onto this field. I will continue to call to action to the Latinas, because I feel like there is not enough. As I said in my previous video, 2% are Latinas, and I want my community to come more to the side, come to the dark side. I'm kidding, but cybersecurity is for everyone. And those are the ways that I would start if I was anyone starting from cybersecurity. And hopefully this video helped. If it didn't help you, share it with somebody that might be interested in starting a career in cybersecurity, or thinking of changing careers over to cyber. And leave me a comment and like. Appreciate ya.